Have you ever heard of the code quality? Do you know what's the clean code? How to maintain the quality of the code? Stay tuned to figure out. Hi everyone, let's talk about the quality of the code. First of all, let's understand what is the clean code. Simply, the clean code is the code that other developers can understand easily. Any developer can write a code for the machine to understand. If the code doesn't have any errors, any faults, the machine can easily understand it. But the question is, can other developers understand it? That is very important. So the clean code has to be expressive, simple, and maintainable. Expressive, which means the code should express itself. The code should be explanatory. It doesn't need pages and pages of documentation to explain it. It has to be self-documented. And the clean code has to be simple. Simple, we need to apply the KISS principle. KISS means keep it simple, stupid. Yes, stupid, which means very, very, very simple. No need for complications. Whenever it's more simple, it will be more powerful. And the clean code has to be maintainable. Maintainable, easily updating, testing, and adding new features. The poorly written code is confusing and it's very, very hard to change it. And whenever we try to change it, we will have more and more bugs. So we should have it maintainable. To maintain the quality of the code, we have other requirements like non-functional requirements. We have 8 non-functional requirements. Let's go through these requirements one by one. The first one is maintainability. Maintainability, which means supportability. The application should require the least amount to change it, to add features to it, to find and fix bugs. So we have some features we must take care of. These features are readability. Code should be explanatory. Get feel of the story by reading the piece of the code. Use appropriate names for classes, variables, functions. You have to write enough comments. The other feature is testability. The code should be easy to test. If you have a big function, then you can separate it to smaller functions. Whenever we have smaller unit, whenever we can test easily, we can find errors easily and we can fix it easily. We can use interfaces with talking to layers. Interfaces can be mocked easily. The other feature is debuggability. The code has to be easy to debug. So we need to log the flow of control. We need to parameter data and exception details to find root cause easily. For example, in the .NET like C#, we have a tool called log4net. If you use the log4net, then you can add support database logging as well because it will help you to debug. The other feature is configurability. Like if we have data which is frequently changed, then we don't need to change any code. Besides the maintainability, we have the reusability. Reusability, we should apply the dry principle. Don't repeat yourself. The code must not be repeated. You have to consider reusable services, functions, and components. You can consider generic functions and classes. This in some languages is very powerful. The other feature is reliability. Reliability, like handling the exceptions, and we can use features like a cleanup, disposable of these are in the .NET especially, to get rid of non-used resources, because this is raising up the reliability of the code. And extensibility, which means easy to add enhancements with minimal changes to the existing code. One component should be replaced easily with another component without making a conflict. We have to take care of the security. How? Using authentications, authorizations, data validations. We need to stop threats such as SQL injections and cross-site scripting excesses. Some people think that has stopped, but unfortunately it is still active until now, so we need to take care of those threats. And we should use encrypting for the sensitive data like the passwords and credit cards, and any other sensitive information. The other feature is performance. To raise the performance, we need to use the suitable data types, such as string builders for .NET and Java, generic collection classes. We can use the lazy loading, asynchronous and parallel processing, caching, and session application data. And the scalability, regardless the size of project you are working on. Maybe you are working on a small project, but you have to think, how if this project is part of other projects? Can it fit without problems? Can it handle big amount of data? Is it deployed on a web farms? So you need to think big. The other feature is usability. Usability. You can put yourself in the shoes of the end user. You can wear the hat of the end user and use the application from their perspective. Is it easy to understand the APIs, the interfaces? If you have any comment for the design, you can talk to the BA or the PM. Now let's go to the coding best practice. We have so many best practices. It depends on the language we are using, but in general, I can mention these features: no hard coding, and try to use constants, configuration values, group similar values under enumeration. In some languages we have enumeration and we can do that. Do not write the comment about what you are doing. It's why you are doing. So you need to explain why. And avoid multiple if-else blocks. Use frameworks features whenever possible instead of writing custom code. The other feature is about the code formatting. Code formatting: when you write the code, you have to take care of the left margin, the alignments. The block must be easily to recognize where it starts, where it ends, and you should use proper name convocation, Pascal, Camel, case, or depend on what is the language you are using, but you have to follow the standard of that language. The architecture: we have to organize the code to capture the business logic, but keep it separate from the delivery mechanism. And for the architecture, we can talk about the three features: separation, synchronization, and design pattern. For the separation, it means split into multiple layers, tiers, as per requirements. Like we should have a presentation layer, business layer, and data layer. And we need to split into respective files: HTML, JavaScript, CSS, for example. For the synchronization, your code has to sync with other existing code, even if it's from another technology. And the last feature is the design pattern. We should use the appropriate design pattern, depend on understanding the problem and how to solve it. Now let's go to the last part, which is how to do it. Every developer must work on their branch. So whenever you want to merge, you have to make a pull request. After making the pull request to know the difference between the new code and the existing code, after you make the pull request, other team members can review your code and give you feedback. Then maybe you can discuss and enhance the code, do the necessary changes. Very important thing, when we have multiple developers working on the same project, one and only one must be responsible for merging to the master. Merging to the master means deploying to the staging. So the developer in charge must be the one who does the merging to the master after reviewing the code. We should not wait. We should not keep pushing the code and pushing without reviewing. We should review piece by piece. Every time there is a pull request, we have to review. That's all. Thank you.